Welcome to another episode of Paige's Lessons with your host, Paige Mitchell. Today, we are going to talk about the very first landing of the United States from my trip abroad, and that's New York City. I've never been to New York. I've always wanted to go to New York my whole life, from, watching movies about it, and I grew up as a dancer and a singer and an actress, so I associate New York with more about film and performing than anything else. I mean, musicals are my jam. I've always wanted to go to Broadway. Unfortunately, I didn't go to Broadway this trip. However, New York was, just logically, okay, I've been backpacking, Western Europe and the United Kingdom. So probably New York is a good safe bet to land. So let's continue the solo journey and go to New York. So I aligned this up. I was actually in Dublin at the time, and then I stayed with a friend in Northern Ireland. So from Northern Ireland, I went back to Dublin, and then from Dublin, I did a layover in Toronto, I believe. But it was only just an hour or two to hop on the next plane. I didn't leave Toronto airport. This was a nightmare, y'all. I had the most amazing time traveling to 14 different countries, and to come back to the United States was such a pain in the ass. It couldn't have been easy. So I really, in hindsight, laugh at all of it, because I'm wow, it really would have been just so easy for me to just come back, huh? Nope. So the main shitstorm that I'll try to summarize real quick, because I don't want this podcast to be 20 minutes, to be honest. I want it to be roughly 10 for every episode. So to spare you some of the details, I landed in Toronto. Canada is very strict on their immigration. And not only did I have to show my passport over 10 times, actually 10 times. I wish I was exaggerating with you. Because you land, you get off the tarmac or whatever, and then you go in the gate, and then again, you're just being bombarded by people, let me see your passport, let me see your passport. And I'm just trying to get to the next gate to get to from Toronto to New York. But what ended up happening was I thought I checked in my bag. I thought when I checked it in, I asked in Dublin, I said, hey, I know I'm stopping in Toronto, but is this bag gonna land in New York? Or is this bag gonna land in Toronto? And they're like, oh no, it'll be in your final destination. Don't worry about it. So once I landed in Toronto, you do have to pass baggage claim to then get to the other gate or whatever. So I'm even passing by baggage claim before then you have to get into customs again. But so I'm part of me wanted to stay in baggage claim just in case my bag was to come out, but I didn't, because I listened to the lady. So I kept walking. And then I double checked with another flight assistant, whatever, someone that worked there. And they're like, no, you should have picked up your bag. So now you have to go back there with a security person. I'm telling you, I was so pissed, because I also was only had an hour or two layover. So this shit was taking fucking forever. I already got approved that I'm a U.S. citizen, but now I have to go back. So I had to wait for someone to take me back to baggage claim. Then I had to do security customs again. It was a nightmare, and I'm running to my gate with only 5 minutes before the gate closes, and I get an alert that the fucking plane's actually delayed an hour. So after all that rushing, I could finally breathe. I got like a slice of pizza, and I just like, but you know, that anxiety that just like spikes up when you're at an airport and you're like, holy shit. Anyway, and then it's like you're hurrying up to slow down, because not only was that delayed an hour, I finally got on the plane. We were on the tarmac for like an hour and a half, like literally, because I think New York, I'm trying to remember, but something was going on over there. What was it, JFK? I don't even remember what I flew into, but there was something going on over there that like made us delayed. So I'm just like, wait, I'm like, can I just go to this US now? Like, what? Like, this is crazy. We land in New York at like 11 p.m. and I'm asking the dude next to me who lives there, I'm like, hey, I've never been to New York. Like, should I do a subway even though it's fucking late? Like, I've never been on a subway in my life. Like, I took the tube. I've been on the metro, but never the subway in New York. And he's like, oh yeah, it's only $3 or whatever. And I was like, sick, but I also am fucking exhausted. I just came from Dublin. Like, I am tired as hell. And so, moral of the story in this part, kids, on Paige's lessons, this is your lesson right here. What is going to bring you the most convenience? What is going to bring you the most ease? And what is going to nourish your body? Save, money and just take the subway, but potentially get lost and drained and overwhelmed, or spend more money, but at least Uber directly to your hotel. And that's what I ended up doing. The Uber was probably $50, but I was so damn tired. Like, that was just the path I wanted. And it was worth every penny, because once I made it to the hotel, I was knocked out. So, ask yourself in those kind of like fork in the road situations, like, oh, I could do this or this. What's going to bring you peace? What is going to take less energy in your brain? Especially when you're at that point of like, you have no more to give. So just ask stuff like that for yourself. Okay, to speed up here. So I just kind of wanted to show you like that, to get into New York was such a shit show, but hey, I made it. It was dark. Like I said, oh my God, was it cold. This was in January. Not only have I never been to New York City before, but I've never been to the Northeast coast ever, period, in addition to January. Okay, I was in fucking Poland. I was in Denmark. I was freezing my ass off, really north up there. But this shit hit different. I was so cold. And with the humidity of the water, like, it is bone chilling. I was miserable. However, I fucking love New York. Quote my ass, okay? I love New York City so much. And I'll just list some reasons why I loved it. I'll just bullet point that list. And then I'll get into just some of my activities that I did there. So a few reasons why I really love New York, and I just love that this was like my first city back from being gone for so long. I like one of the very first things I did was I went to the Statue of Liberty. Yes, the most tourist shit ever, but I was like, no, damn it, like, I need to see this freedom lady. Like, I need to see this iconic statue. I booked it. It was cheap. Easy. Navigated the subway like it was nothing. Like, I got lost maybe like once my whole like 9 days there, but still, like, I'm pretty impressed with myself. But one of the things I really loved about it is when I went on this tour, I mean, there was people from all over the world on this tour, which was cool. But oh my God, y'all, when I finally saw the Statue of Liberty, just tears that eventually turned into icicles because it was so fucking cold. Tears ran through my face, down my face. Millions of people have immigrated to New York to make a life for themselves. And it just hit me all at once of like, my ancestors made their way here. I would not be who I am without my ancestors. And although there's plenty to complain about America, plenty. And there was a lot of times I was very embarrassed to be an American in these other countries when I was abroad. Still though, at least what like Lady Liberty represented, I just was so grateful. I was so in my feels of, oh my God, like I'm here. Like this is what I have to call home, to be an American. Like I was just very proud of my country. I was just feeling really patriarchal. Jesus, patriot. I was feeling a patriot. All right. I'm just saying it. I'm just getting emotional thinking about it. That all of this time, like, and also I was really grateful that I was born in the time I was born, because back then, fucking shitty times, fucking really shitty. And just even me having a backpack, solo traveling, like, imagine, like, you know, bringing your whole life to another country, you know, without plumbing and air conditioning and all this shit. Like, I don't know. There were a lot of feelings going on when I did the Statue of Liberty tour. And so anyway, I love New York because of the immigration. Then people just made their lives. And so I also just love that every single block in Manhattan, that's all I can really say, is because that's all I was. I just went to Manhattan. But every single block, it was its own community. It had a neighborhood. It was a vibe. It's just so cool because I was very overstimulated. And I actually thought that was a good thing. Usually I don't cheer to be overstimulated, but it definitely worked. I loved the local shops and just the exposure to all of the diversity at one time. You know, that's how I felt when I was in London as well. But just in like New York City, it was just so cool, you know? And I think what I really love is it's just so genuine there and authentic, meaning like, if people are like, if you're going to meet an asshole, you're going to meet an asshole. But if you're going to meet someone nice, they're going to be nice. But there's no fakeness. There's just so much realness. No one's putting on an act. They're just who they are. And I got a real respect for people like that. The stereotype of New Yorkers are this and that and the third. Like, I didn't feel that way. Because I know that assholes are everywhere in this world. So it's not particularly just the East Coast. There's assholes literally everywhere. So I had a really great time. I didn't meet anyone that was rude. I just met really nice people throughout my stay. I didn't even have a bad meal, honestly. I loved the food. Was it expensive? Hell yeah. But I lived in California. I've lived in Hawaii. I understand a $30 burger. I know what it means, unfortunately. But I think one of the biggest surprises that I really liked about New York is that it was very open. I thought, or, you know, in the movies, all of the buildings are very clamped and claustrophobic together, very you know, you feel like you're crouching. I did not feel that way at all. It felt like the cities were very spread out, or the buildings were spread out. I could walk everywhere. There were trees, parks, nature. I felt really open even though it was a city. Granted, I did go in January, but it was still poppin'. It was still a lot of people. Of course, it would be different in the summer, but still, like, I was really surprised with just, like, how much I walked and how much open air I felt, even though it was a city. And, I also really loved about New York that you could just be anyone you wanted to be, and no one cares. Like, if you want to look really fucking fashionable and designer, like, get it, girl, get it, dude. Like, that is art, just walking art. Also, if you want to look homeless chic, you do you, boo. There's no rules. Like, you could just be anyone you want to be. That's probably a song line, but it's true. Like, you could be anyone you want in New York, and I love that freedom. It was just an incredible experience. I'm just super happy I got to travel it and just do the things. I highly was surprised with, like, Grand Central Station. Like, that was overwhelming and beautiful. I went to Little Italy. I went to this Essex market. They had this, like, pepperoni pizza with burrata on it. Holy shit. I got a breakfast bagel every fucking day. I went to Tompkins, I think is what it's called. Tompkins Square Bagel. It's a chain, I think, though. But I got a breakfast bagel every day. And I didn't know what a breakfast bagel was, to be honest. I was like, oh yeah, just like eggs, bacon, cheese, whatever. They have that all over the United States. No, New York and their breakfast bagels is a whole game changer. I also had this, like, cream puff from this French-based bakery that was, like, so incredible. I took a dance class at Broadway Dance Center in Times Square. It was so much fun. I was so excited to finally dance at a New York level. It was a beginner class, but God, that kicked my ass. But that was really fun. I went to this overlook observatory thing, and it was called The Edge. It was just this, like, sky deck, so I got a beautiful rooftop view of New York. I went to one of the, like, very first operated speakeasies during the Prohibition, and it's called the Back Room. It's still working, and it's so cute because it's still working like a speakeasy, because I went into, like, this creepy alley and, like, creepy stairs, and they serve alcohol in teacups, which is really cute because that's what they did back then. I went and saw the Chrysler Building. Like I mentioned, I was in Times Square. I got some chicken from Raising Cane's in Times Square, and they had a DJ in the fast food restaurant. Like, it was poppin'. It was like a disco. I was like, okay, New York, I fucking see you. And people are, like, dancing on the streets, and, like, there's just so much energy here. Like, I was thriving. Chelsea was cool. What else? Greenwich Village. I finally saw the Friends apartment. That was, like, a bucket list. And also a bucket list because I love the movie, Harold and Kumar, White Castle. I finally had White Castle. That wasn't just the, like, frozen thing that you buy in the grocery store. Like, I actually went to a White Castle restaurant. Unfortunately, wasn't that great. But lastly, one that topped it off for me was I went to a, like, rave club thing in Brooklyn. And what was really weird about it was, I don't know if it's because of the snow. I don't know because of the literal street signs are the same font and color of Denver, but it felt like I was in my, like, backyard in Denver. Like, it was weird. There's this area in Denver called Rhino, It's the River North District. And it was literally just like Brooklyn of the part I was in, with the warehouses and everything. But like the streets looked exactly the same. It was like, wait, am I in Denver right now? Like, it was a weird time portal thing. But I'm like walking the streets at 3 a.m, like about to take the subway. Like, Paige, what are you doing? But I did it, and I'm here, and I made it. And this is a long ass fucking episode, but I really loved New York, y'all. My last like lesson / message for you is, when was the last time you went to a place and it gave you energy? I think sometimes we are used to just going to a place and it takes our energy. For example, I have a lot of friends that hate grocery shopping, right? They like have so much anxiety about it, or it's overstimulating, like whatever. I totally understand that. I don't relate to that, but I understand. And obviously that like going to a grocery store takes away their energy. But where is a place for you that you are immediately like, oh, I am gaining, like my battery is being charged here? That is how I felt in New York. I would feel even better if it was like warm and not, oh my God, it was like 20, 25 degrees. Like, it was cold. Fahrenheit, folks. It was cold, not gonna lie. So I would love to go to New York again when it's warm. But yeah, just try to like go to places that make you really happy. This could be literally like your local library, your favorite park. There's maybe a favorite tree you have. I don't care. But like, when was the last time you went somewhere and it charged your battery? It gave you energy. I challenge you to do that this week. For me, instantly, it is the ocean. It is being by the beach. So I have that right in my backyard right now. I'm definitely going to go do that now that we just talked about it. But that was my first stop of the U.S. tour. Stay tuned for next week when I share with you my next U.S. state.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media or head over to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Subscribing and posting a review helps to improve engagement and is essential for the podcast to be discovered by new listeners. Thanks again for listening, and remember, every day provides a lesson. Take care.